Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call a meeting order, a special meeting of the Surrey Police Board. Before I begin, I wish to honor the Kwantlen, Catesy, and Semiahmoo peoples for their hospitality in hosting Surrey Police Service and the Surrey Police Board on their ancestral territory. Board chair has been called away for personal matters and sends his regrets. I am Rob Stutt, and as vice chair, it's my responsibility to chair today's meeting. The agenda has circulated and posted more than 24 hours in advance of today's meeting in accordance with municipal police board meeting regulations. As stipulated by the same regulation, the board may only consider items that are on the agenda. Before moving forward, is there any item on the agenda for which the director has identified a conflict of interest? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept to adopt the agenda? Move. Archie, second George, all in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. The first item of business, then, before I go any further, I'd like to welcome anyone that may be joining us online. Good afternoon and welcome. The first item of business is for a decision in regards to amending a resolution that the board adopted at its April 30th meeting. In the meeting package, you'll find a report prepared by the executive director outlining issue and at a proposed motion. Anybody have a chance to refer to it? Before moving to a discussion, pardon me. I'm sorry, George.
Oh, I just wanted to ask a question if you're ready for questions.
Go ahead.
Thank you. During your previous discussions, I recall, and in reading the materials, I recall that you had missed the window for ordering the vehicles for the first period.
I would have to, sorry, for your question.
Well, so the question is, and if that's the case, we've missed that window, would it not be prudent to consider delaying ordering some of the only the vehicles that we had planned on getting in the window of opportunity? We are going to defer the others so we have a little more time to work through some of this and what went wrong with getting our numbers right. And also Finance Committee, we had expressed some concerns about a 5-year period, but that period for procurement is ending in October. So given the delay, we're going to be starting a new period of procuring vehicles. Does it make sense to be freeing up the money for these vehicles when we can't even get them? And we're going to be into negotiating a new contract with someone before we would even buy these. I don't know if that's making sense.
No,
but
for my part, the purpose of the report was to try to rectify the mistake that was made on the motion. I think if some more substantive work wants to be done, then it might be to refer it back to finance.
My second question was going to be, why wasn't this referred back to finance, given that we're responsible for having forwarded to the board? I put my signature on this, trusting in the information that was provided. It turns out that information was inaccurate, but rather than focus on that right now, I'm just looking at the logistics of, does it make sense to award all of this money to spend when we've been told we can't actually buy those vehicles? They're not available now because we didn't meet that window. And by the time they are available for us to purchase, that procurement agreement, a 5-year term, will have expired and we'll be negotiating a new one. So that's.
Well, certainly it's the will of the board to do as it pleases. In this situation, when the issue came up, I had circulated an email to say what the issue was. I had proposed that we do something to rectify. My reading of the will of the at the time was to proceed this way. But if there's a desire to go do something different, it's certainly understandable.
Just to be clear, I'm not criticizing what you did. The problem is, by the time we get time to sit down and read this stuff and digest it, it's not at that moment. that you were reading the will of the room, right? It's when we get to reflect on it that we can maybe make a little more sense of it. And right now, having reflected on it, I can't see any reason why we would approve money to be spent on vehicles that we actually can't buy, because we missed that procurement opportunity, and we're going to be negotiating a new contract for buying vehicles before they can actually deliver these. So I don't think we're beholden to the Ford dealership here. We have a contract that they're telling us they cannot, we missed the window, they're not prepared to provide us with the vehicles. So why are we going to approve the money and spend it? That's.
And any further discussion, Archie?
Yeah. Well, I'll just go very quickly. I think there's two parts to the motion. One is to correct the error in the last one. And the second part is to approve a new revised amount. So I think it's probably prudent to correct the error in the past one. And whether we want to approve a new one, that's a secondary.
That's what I'm saying. You just said it in English. That's all. That's exactly the point is we have to correct the error.
Yes.
I'm annoyed about the error. We need to correct the error and figure out how we made that error. And I include us, the committee, in that as well, because I didn't catch that little X said that it doesn't meet the budget on the report. So we need to do better than that. But the other part of it is the amount of money we're going to approve. We shouldn't be approving an amount of money that they actually can't spend. We've been criticizing, Surrey Police Services for spending practices. We're enabling it if we're actually approving money that we've been told by the vendor that they actually won't provide us cars during that window. So I think we should be adjusting the amount. Go ahead and purchase the vehicles we can receive. I guess it's the second window. I'm not sure of the dates, but and delay the purchase of these.
Thank you. Two things. Number one is I understood that what we were just dealing with was the question of amending the amount, whether we're going to do that or not. The motion is the motion. So I haven't heard of anything wanting to vacate the motion and wanting to revisit, like getting rid of it altogether. So secondly, the motion, as I understand it, if we're now up to the new number, it doesn't require that we spend all of that. And obviously, if there's no vehicles to be purchased, then we won't spend that. But I'm kind of unsure about whether the idea is that we're going to change the amount, then remove it, or what's being proposed, because that would involve more than just amending the amount. That would, like, I don't have my Robert's Rules of Order with me, but I think if you're going to actually change a motion to that extent, then there's a different process we would have to go through.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think what Archie just explained, we're operating well within that range. If what the motion is today is to address the error,
Yes.
we do that.
Okay.
The second one is to establish what amount of money we're going to allocate. And I'm simply saying that when we make that decision on how much money we're going to allocate, we should consider the fact that we no longer can buy a large number of the vehicles in the time frame that SPS wanted them and needed them. So if that's the case, and coincidentally, it appears to me, I'm looking for somebody to correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it may be that, and the contract through which we're dealing with this particular dealership is going to expire, and we're going to have to do a new procurement process for October when this contract expires. If the dealership we're dealing with can't deliver those vehicles by that time in any event, then why would we allocate the money now when we have to negotiate a new contract to know how much we're going to spend and how much we're paying?
I think the language of the motion here where it says limit, I think we have to correct the, do the first motion, and I would certainly entertain a motion with regards to future spending on, bearing in mind that this figure is a limit. So that means up to.
Right.
So that doesn't mean inclusive of. So I think if we were to call a question on a motion, which, I'm sorry.
you carry on.
Come to me when you're.
Okay, I would think if we call a question on this, we can then proceed with another motion in the direction that you're going, sir.
Thank you.
So I'm just gonna try to follow what we're doing from a logistical thing. So we're gonna amend the motion that was passed to the budget approved number, which is around 7.1 million.
Correct.
And then we may entertain secondary motion that would say if you can't get vehicles, then you would only spend up to the amount that covers the vehicles and not the full amount.
Right.
We probably don't know what that amount is yet, is what I'm thinking.
And there was
And
some, yeah.
And then also I'd like some clarification on the RFP and the time frame. Can you, like, you're good, we need the vehicles. It's just when do they come? And if you can't get any vehicles by the date you need them, you still need an order to get them as soon as possible. So
Right.
is that all under the one contract, or does it need two contracts? That's not clear to me.
Would this be something, Todd, you'd be able to clarify?
Might be able to shed some light onto Director Duncan's question about the order bank. So the update I had from staff suggests that the spring order bank is closed. But we could still put in orders for the spring order bank or potential delivery of vehicles in October. But there's no guarantee that because the order bank's closed. So there is still an opportunity potentially, depending on how many orders Ford has received from across North America, that we might still get in delivery of some vehicles in October. But the report started in terms of before staff can actually make an order, have to have the backing to be able to spend that money. And those vehicles are eventually delivered, which is when the cost is due.
So you can't do anything until we give you the authority to purchase. It's
Correct.
just that you're not sure you're going to be able to receive them.
In October or in 2027.
And just to be clear again, I'm not trying to impede the purchase of the vehicles we can receive. I'm just saying the vehicles we can't receive, and I believe it was just confirmed that they're saying that October date, it so happens that the procurement contract expires in October. I mean, we have a duty to try and make sure we can purchase these vehicles in the most efficient, cost beneficial way for us, not for the convenience of the dealership. And I'm not trying to hold up the delivery. I was convinced by a very compelling argument when we first dealt with this item that we should make sure that SPS get these vehicles. But if they can't have them, then I'm saying, then I think we should be making adjustments to the money so we don't have any more embarrassing situations arise, and we can relook at it, revisit it, and determine is there a more cost-efficient way that we can get them the vehicles they need and maybe sooner.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jesse, please.
I have a quick question. There's an answer. Typically, what's the timeline with respect to placing the order and receiving? Just because we need to take that into consideration.
It's hard to predict because as just when this, when you were starting, we had done the report. When we're building the budget, also in December, we became aware that the vehicles we ordered in 2020 hadn't been delivered yet. Now, part of that is because of world events and different things that were going on. And so we're still waiting for delivery of 2024 before we can see why. Previous to that, it was about a year by the time we placed the order. And so they go from the assembly line to the third party in Ontario that takes the police cars and then installs all the police equipment. And then they get transported out here to SPS. So that entire length of time can be
At least a year. And so how many vehicles are we waiting for to be delivered from 2024 and 2025?
Do you remember the number?
And we need 68 this year, is that correct?
That was the additional ask.
The additional ask.
Yes.
not including
I
what's going to be
believe-
delivered.
Yeah, I'd be taking a stab at it, but I believe that the 2024 number and the 2025 number that have not yet been delivered is around that 40.
Or-
Yeah, something like that.
So the 68 is in addition to the 40, that we're waiting.
Todd, I know in the past, we've actually used the money available for vehicles to purchase vehicles from other policing organizations that have extra. If we approve this amount, is that also a possibility that in addition to the order you're talking about, we would have money to purchase vehicles from other organizations?
That's always possible, yes.
Any further discussion? We're going to ask the question on the first part and entertain a subsequent motion then. So before moving to further discussion, I'd like to have somebody move to rescind a part of the resolution that established an expenditure of $7,784 for the purchase of old vehicles adopted on April 30th and replace it with the following: that the Surrey Police Board established an expenditure limit up to $7,115,000 for the acquisition of the vehicles. I'll make a motion that Jesse, Jim, all in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Now we can entertain the second part of.
I would look for some help from Jason with the motion because I want it worded carefully so that we're not going to impede their ability to get vehicles if vehicles are available. I would like there to be the flexibility that if we can get vehicles that are satisfactory to SPS at a better price or from another vendor in a more timely fashion, that we would do that, but we won't authorize the expenditure to pay this dealership for vehicles they've already told us they can't deliver.
So is it really that we're wanting to get another request for proposal or another?
I'm trying to say what our destination is, what our goal is, and leave it to the experts to figure out how we can get there.
If I may, we want to pay for the vehicles that we can get now
Right.
and investigate what the future holds for other vehicles
Right.
and their availability.
Yeah, exactly. So they have the flexibility. If they can get other vehicles at an equal price or a better price, great, we can do that. As opposed to, I don't know exactly how this motion would have worked, but it seemed to me that if we approve it the way it is, then we could only buy those vehicles from the dealership that's told us they can't actually provide them.
We'll work on a motion here and then we'll entertain discussion following. Thank you.
If I may, Mr. Chair, my point about if this had come back to committee, this is what the work I feel the committee should have been doing.
Okay, I
So
get that.
when I found out, oh, we're having a special board meeting before we could get organized. So I either bring it up now or I don't bring it up.
We can send the second half back to them.
I mean, what that seems to, from my understanding from what I heard.
So shall I just, I'll refer this back to the committee about
That's what we're
how
just,
specific, okay.
we're just sort of writing in here.
I'm happy to do that, but I'm also happy to come up with a solution. I don't want to hold them up. I just don't want to authorize them spending the money with a vendor that's already told us they can't deliver what they need. Right.
I didn't realize, for example, the original motion limited us to this one vendor. That's why I asked the question.
I got it now.
It may be just,
Yeah, so.
we're having a meeting in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And just a comment, that Todd it wouldn't impede. Not passing it today would not impede.
No, that being the case, I'm going to ask for a motion to refer this to the finance committee for further discussion, and the finance committee will report back.
Yeah.
Move second. Archie and James, I'm sorry.
We just approved 7.1 million, which I understand is what was in the approved budget. The report that got approved on whatever, April 30th was 500,000 plus higher than budget that we approved.
Yeah.
Not understanding that it wasn't in budget. So we're trying to align it with budget.
Yes,
So we've approved that spending up to that amount now.
limit, yeah.
Yeah. So we've authorized the chief to enter into agreements to purchase vehicles up to 7.115 million. So what is we going to do with the second motion? Doesn't make sense to me. Because we just approved the 7.1.
The second motion has to do with cars that are not available now.
Larry's right technically.
Yes.
First, the original motion, I believe it tied two things, total cost and number of vehicles. The motion we just passed didn't mention a number of vehicles factor. It was just correcting the amount. I don't know if that means the first motion prevails in terms of the number of vehicles is still a factor. And then the amendment is just simply to say whatever the total amount can be, but it still has to fulfill the number of vehicles or cost per vehicle factor. If it doesn't, then you're right. We need to do something to fix that, because the whole point of this is to not authorize the spending of money on vehicles that from a vendor that we know we can't get in time.
Just to add,
Can I just ask questions to go through the chair, please?
Sure.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. So again, I'm going to go back to Spud. I believe my understanding is that the 68 vehicles could be covered in the 7.115 million that was approved as the budget. And the 7.684 that we approved was actually just human error. So I don't believe the number of vehicles needs to change because that's what's required, correct? I read that somewhere, but there's so much information. I'm just reconfirming.
I would have to
Okay.
revalidate that as
So
well.
that's my understanding.
I believe you're right. but
Jim, Archie, done.
validate.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim.
So the clarification, I reread the previous resolution,
Doesn't
talk about a number of vehicles, just talks about the amount. So
somewhere somewhere in the report, then if it wasn't the motion, it referred to the number of vehicles.
In the recommendations.
but since we didn't put that in the motion, are we bound by that?
Didn't our first motion just amend the value?
It just amended.
The first motion still passed with all the content. We just changed the
Right.
value.
Correct.
Right.
Clarification.
Yes, go ahead.
The report was based on $113,000 total cost upfitted police vehicle. 68 vehicles times 113 is 7.68 million. So I think what the finance committee needs to consider if we refer it is direction to the department to buy as many vehicles as you can under the new amount. And it won't be 68.
That's right.
And then further direction may be that if vehicles aren't available and you need to go back to market, then only spend what you need to spend on what vehicles you can get and allow that money to be used again for the future purchase, not spend it on other alternative things.
You just summed up my objective.
Yeah.
So
so those 2 points, Larry, which may help is like when we passed the budget in February, 7.1 was in the budget then. So the board has approved the 7.1. It's just,
I see.
this was tying it into a contract, specific contract. And there was another concern in that there was also, I believe, some motorcycles that wanted to be purchased at some point. And they were
Not in here.
not in that.
They weren't in
as well.
Yeah.
So might need to rejig that whole.
Jim, did you have further question? Good question. Anyone else? So we will have a motion before the floor to refer this to the governance committee. pardon me, Finance Committee.
Finance.
Satisfied anybody? Larry, does that satisfy your question? We can address those issues. That's, not.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I think the budget of 7.1 is already approved, so that spending line's already approved. Thanks for that clarification, Archie.
So motion to that effect. Jim, second. Archie, all in favor? Opposed, if any? Thank you. Carried.
Thank you.
Next, where are we now here? Next item on the agenda is a service or policy complaint that was received by the board at the April 30th meeting and referred to at the governance meeting to review. There's a report in the agenda package that's from the governance committee, and included in the report are appendices that contain information from the complainant that the committee considered fall within the scope of a service or policy complaint. The committee's recommendation to the board is for the board to adopt a request of the chief constable. It means to report on the complaint to the board with particular attention paid to investigating and reporting on the complainant's question regarding a differential treatment of his child. Before we have discussion, can I get somebody to move that motion?
So moved, Chair.
Thank you, Hannah. Can I get a seconder?
Second.
Thank you, Jesse. All in favor? Oh, pardon me, before with that discussion, before we do the vote, any questions regarding this policy complaint? Anna, have you got any questions? Nope.
No,
Uh,
thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Chair.
You know, if I may, having reviewed this, I think there's a couple of questions that need to be addressed. I certainly don't have any concern with the direction that we're taking. But I think one of the things that really has to be addressed is, whether or not in the first instance, an offense did take place and action was subsequent to that. And I would also like to see some discussion regarding the supervision of the original attendance in this complaint, follow up with that. Any questions, conversation? So all in favor? Opposed? That's good. And next, you'll find a report prepared by the executive director in your agenda package that outlines operational, organizational, and governance options to support the safe and effective assumption of precinct responsibility for District 2. Yep. The board will be meeting with management during the session to review SPS's assessment of operational readiness more closely. It's my understanding for bringing this report forward for a discussion in the open session is to keep the public informed about the work we are doing on its behalf and to provide input into decisions that affect them. Like to turn it over to directors for any discussion at this point. Excuse me, George.
There was discussion about Mr. Lewis, is it? Coming over and meeting with the board.
That's right.
And I've not heard anything about that.
Yeah.
That meeting, I asked about it at our last meeting.
So I have not heard from him about scheduling a meeting. I think that's an open question. I think some of the hope was that information you'll be considering in closed is able to provide a background or a basis for a conversation, because I believe he'll be getting similar or the same information so that the board and the director can talk about the governance elements that need to be addressed. So, but at this point, because this report is coming today, and I think he's getting briefed after, I imagine he'll be following up with scheduling or trying to arrange that meeting.
Okay, so there still hasn't been a meeting set. The chief was going over, or not sure if you're going over there or you're just meeting with. The day after a board meeting, the chief was going to speak with Mr. Lewis. And then I asked the chair at the time, when are we going to have our meeting with them? Because it's, back when we were doing our orientation, this was a pressing matter. We needed to meet with them. And our police folks can't really get their problem solved unless we get a commitment from the provinces, whether this is a flexible date or not. And so I guess I'm just pushing to say, is somebody phoning over there to say to this guy, like, come on, we need to. Because it's been a month and a half that we've been waiting for just a meeting to be set so we can talk with them about it and find out if there is more flexibility than what.
Good question. Has there been any correspondence forwarded to ADM Lewis
I'd have to see what we,
board meeting?
I'd have to see what we've done, specifically on correspondence. Most of it has been just talking to each other by phone.
I think maybe it'd be prudent to put that in the form of correspondence because it's an issue that has to be resolved. Okay.
Mr. Chair, would it be possible for us to pass a motion directing that we set up a meeting and invite them, like that we just proactively now will send them dates, decide who's going to meet with them, whether we have to go over there, they're going to come here or whatever, but do something other than sit back and wait for the province to.
Is there an update anywhere else on the floor, Chief? Did you have an update?
No, I met with the province and gave the same slide presentation as I did the board. And I intend to meet with the province virtually to continue the discussion and with the RCMP to continue the discussion. That's where it's at now. And we'll be able to provide some more details in closed.
Thank you. Well, certainly with respect to the ADM Lewis, it seems that it's a matter that has to be pursued. So I would entertain a motion to that effect that we direct staff to direct correspondence to ADM requesting a meeting with viable dates in the not too distant future. I mean, we have to have a realistic date if we can move forward on anything here.
Yeah, the longer we take to come up with a realistic proposal for dates, the later it'll be before we get to meet with them. So I think
You want to make a motion to that effect?
I will.
Thank you. So the motion will be to direct staff to correspond with the ADM.
Requesting dates for the chair and whoever else from whatever other directors would participate.
Okay.
To meet with the folks from the ministry and anyone else that needs to be involved for us to be able to make our case for some relief from what's been imposed on us.
Okay. Make something back to that effect.
Just
Or actually, I'll get George, or pardon me.
Direct
Jason.
staff to correspond with requesting with the ministry and everyone else involved.
That satisfying?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion to that effect, move. Can somebody move it? And second, Larry, thank you, all in favor. Opposed, thank you, carried.